Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Chapter 1 and Beyond. I'm Christina, and today I want to share some thoughts on Watermoon since I finally finished it. Yes. Oh man, this book really took me for a ride, and I personally loved it from start to finish. I cannot get enough about this book. Um, and I want to explore with you the heights and just everything. I just want to talk about it, because it's so fresh in my brain right now, and we just gotta dive right into it. So, what made me pick up Watermoon in the first place? Well, I was very intrigued by the cover. And honestly, I didn't know much about the book itself. When I had picked it on Book of the Month, I was like, interesting. A pawn shop about, trading in regrets of life. And it was very interesting, that unique twist with, the use of a pawn shop. But what I didn't realize was that it would have so much more. And I've not read too many magical realism books, but I have to say, this one's got me hooked to this genre now. And I hope that any of the other magical realism books that I have on my shelf, I know I have Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstances, and I'm sure there's a few other ones that I have on my shelf, but I'm really excited to be diving into this genre just because of the fact that I've never really read something like this before, and it's just interesting to me how they kind of highlight fantasy, mystical, atmospheric type elements, and pull into a real world situation, which I didn't think would work, but it actually did. So I went in with no expectations when I picked this book up. I literally was just like, okay, let's just take a look at it, see what happens. And oh my gosh, so good. And the timing of me reading this book had been everything for me. It really helped me tremendously, because recently I have had a family member pass, and it had elements of how the main character went through grief and mourning, and missing loved ones that have long passed. And it was just a beautiful, well written book, that I honestly don't think could match to this topic. I know that when I read the book, Midnight Library by Matt Haig, it really got me to think about what if I chose this path, or what if I chose that path. And this particular book, Watermoon, really resonated with me because it really got me to think about not just exploring the fun, creative ways that they travel through Hannah's world, but it really got me thinking the decisions that you make, and the regret that you live with really burden your ability of moving forward and being able to keep going in life. And it really got me that deep. It really helped me a lot with understanding that it's okay to be human, and it's okay to make past mistakes, and it's okay to make these choices, but that is something that can't be undone, and that is something you just need to take with you along this journey to learn and grow. And that was a big whole thing about Watermoon, was the ability of understanding that even though life is written out for you, you can make your own choices, and you can change the course of your future. And it was really powerful to me because um people that feel like they're stuck, or they feel like that they have to follow what their parents say, or follow a certain path, because that's what they're destined to. It really allowed for that to shine through in Watermoon. And I love the fact that there was a Philippine type culture mixed into it. Like I had mentioned in a previous episode, I thought it was more Japanese because Tokyo, Japan was mentioned in the book, and maybe that's where I like lost sight of it. But nonetheless, like it was beautiful. Like they had, not to give away spoilers or anything, but there was just certain elements like related to Asian cult, like Oriental culture, that just like origami, and it was just beautiful. Like in like the amount of detail that the author used to describe Hannah's world versus Keenan's world. I'm very bad with pronouncing names, but the male character, not Haruto, but Kaishin, I believe his name was, if I'm pronouncing that even correctly. But he's from the real world, and then Hannah's from her world, and they talk about that immediately, like how there's like, you know, it's not what it seems in Hannah's world, and that, you know, it unfolds that, you know, there's just all this like too good to be true situations happening, and it's so good. It just, oh gosh, like I was up until almost like 2 o'clock last night trying to finish this book because I could not put it down. I had to find out what happened, and like that ending was just pure chef's kiss amazing. I was very happy with how it resulted, and how it kind of went through like the whole cycle of where the story was going. So like I had mentioned in previous episodes, there was a few lines and quotes. You can check that out in the previous episode, but like honestly, like what really stood out to me most was the fact that she eloquently talked about grief and time and memories, and how it had this fun little spin on like time, like how time is constructed and how it can be perceived. And I really appreciated that because like I love sci-fi books that talk about like time travel or time hops, or, you know, bending time and things like that. So I thought that was really cool and unique, but it really stood out to me like her ability of being able to talk about not only time but also talk about grief and decisions and regret, and just some hard-hitting topics that I felt at the beginning I was a little hesitant on reading when they started mentioning it, but honestly it was so beautifully done that it intrigued me. I wanted to like read more. I really was rooting for Hannah and Kaishin and Haruto, and you know, all the characters. Like you know, like Hannah's world really, you know, had like, you know, you look at like our world and everything, and you look at how, you know, there's certain roles and there's certain you know, tiers in classes for some odd reason. And I still don't understand that, even being close to 39 years old. But, you know, like there, we have this low poverty and middle class and upper class, and then we have the elites, and, you know, like it kind of remind me of that structure, because like with Hannah's world, you have, you know, people that construct the night sky, and you have people that help with feeding and nourishing the workers that are, you know, constructing the night sky. And I'm probably getting really, really deep and spoilery, but I have to say though, she did a very good job with like kind of, you know, introducing how everyone's important, and how in the end, you know, you know, everyone has a purpose in life. And just honestly, it was just everything. Like I can't even begin to say enough like how much depth there was with the characters, and how much depth there was with the detail of each section of the story. I liked how it was formatted, because like the chapters were short, but there was like part one, two, three, and four. So that was interesting in itself. It gave me like bite-sized pieces to kind of like dissect through, because I'm terrible at like putting down a book, like, because if I'm in the middle of a chapter, I can't put it down until I finish that chapter. Which I can appreciate with this one because the chapters, some of them were like only 1 page, some were like 4 pages, but it wasn't like dense, and I really like that about Watermoon. But honestly, though, when I look at all of the characters that were introduced, I would have to say that I'm more connected with Kaishin, because with his character, it was interesting. You know, he lives with this memory of his mom, and he lives with this thought of, am I good enough? Or, like, and it's just like this negative talk that he has. And it's just, I personally live with things like that too, just because of the fact that, I have, anxiety, and I've had past experiences where I've had to really question my self-worth. And I know, like, over time, like, obviously now I know, and after going and talking through it, I've realized that, I'm in this for me. I'm in this to make a better version of myself. And I really think like Kaishin's character really kind of dives into that same theme, just to, show like, hey, I'm worth it. And, I care about this person. And I just feel like, honestly, like, there was just something about his character that really kept pressing me on to root for him. He was very much forward about like protecting Hannah, and he would go earths and bounds to keep helping her. Because of, like, being introduced at early on. And it really made me sad that when there was like a point where they got separated. And it was like a lot of like Inception. You know how that movie where they go through dreams, and like they reverse certain things, and they mimic and redo like the memory. And it really reminded me a lot of that, which was really trippy in some spaces, just because like Kaishin's character was like, okay, well, I'm still gonna follow you just because of the fact that I personally can't go back. There's no map of how to kind of retrace the steps. And the whole like takeaway with him following Hannah through her world was, she was being chased by the Shaikun, and he ultimately ended up getting chased by the Shaikin as well. And it just, oh my gosh. So like, just every element of this book was just so freaking good. Would I like reread this book in the future? Absolutely, 1,000% yes. Like, checking that off, and it is staying on my shelf. I am not getting rid of that book. What did I rate it? Obviously 5 stars. I if I can like be front with everybody, how I usually rate books is, if you draw me in and you keep me interested the full way through, hands down, that's a 5 star book to me. If there were certain like character flaws and like some problematic things that, it really took me a long time to get through the book, and it really like was hard for me to get through to the end, I'd say I do like a 3 to 4 star review on that. And then if I absolutely could not stand the characters and could not stand, I normally like range between a DNF, or like did not finish, and up to 2 stars or 1 star. Like, I'm pretty brutal. Like, I rarely like fall into 2 or 1 star reviews unless the plot keeps driving me forward. Which, before I used to torture myself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna finish this because I've already started it. But if something is just not vibing with me, I personally, I dump it. I have to. So, it's really Watermoon to me is like the kind of book that like at the right place at the right time is the perfect read. And I felt like everything that I have been through in the last like several months, if not like several weeks, honestly, it was the perfect timing for it. And I think that's why it resonated so well with me. But I don't know how the reread's going to go because I don't know if I'm going to have loss or grief during that period as well. So, but yeah, so that's my brief journey through Watermoon. To me, it's the kind of book that leaves behind ripples long after you turn the last page. This one's really going to stick with me. If you've read it, I'd love to hear your reflections on it. What stayed with you? What confused you? What comforted you? Like, which character did you resonate with? You can reach out to me in the Discord channel. I'm always open to hanging out and talking, and I really appreciate you guys supporting this podcast, and I hope that you will come back for some future episodes and stay tuned. So until next time, keep reading, keep wondering, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye.